Hello, welcome back to my channel, Checks Capture Threats. Today's video is now episode 25 of the Gambits Galore playlist. So we're going to be going through another game here, and as you can see at the top and the bottom is Hikaru Nakamura versus Michael Adams. Now, this is the King's Gambit here, and we're going to be doing it from the perspective as white, as Hikaru did win this one. Now, Hikaru had an 87.9% accuracy with 4 great moves to Michael Adams' 83.5%. With still 2 great moves, but I think a few more mistakes, which we'll be going over. So, starts off here with e4, and then we get e5, f4, and the capture. Now, this is what we call the Abasia defense, I'm pretty sure, where they play this d5 here. And obviously, you do not want to be taking straight away with your queen here, as this can lead to very difficult procedures after, you know, the stuff like the knight comes out. You might have to go straight back, could go Scandinavian-like, and it in general could just be very difficult to go for. So, we get knight f6. Now we get bishop c4. All normal moves so far. We get the capture, and obviously you do not take here as white, and he's just going to castle, get that development straight away. And what you're looking for as white here is to move this knight out of the way somewhere, get the queen on f3, and use this attack with the pawn as well on this bishop. So we get bishop e6. The bishop goes back here just in case of this coming down for some way. And then we get the move c5. King goes to h1, maybe a bit early to do that, but we get knight c6, d4, and then the first great move by Michael Adams here, c4. And the reason is you can't obviously take, as you know, there's going to be this fork here, you take, this takes, and it's attacking the rook. So you would be about, I think, a piece down there. Now, after bishop d6, black is actually already a point a bit up, as you can see on the left here, so it's doing pretty well. And here, he's just closing the position. And we get queen d3, castling. We get a few trades here. And now the rook goes onto this semi-open file at the minute. And now the full open file, as the bishop's just captured in d5. c4, still another mistake here, actually, as the bishop can now come into the centre, create an outpost, and it's now just very good. We get queen c3, a5, a3, obviously, always to stop a very good spot there, f6 here, and then we now are creating a battery to try and attack this file. It's very difficult to do these 2 pawns, but it's very much possible. We get rook d1 here, rook e7, obviously a very good idea. I think black's creation here of creativity into their plan is very smart here. You know, much better than than white in my opinion here, as this isn't doing too much at the minute, and that's why I think the 1.6 to black is understandable. b4, I get a few captures, and then the king moves. This kind of loses a bit of advantage, as again, I just don't think there's any need necessarily, and there was a miss there in actually playing d5. We get rook b7, the bishop goes up to c3, the queen now goes over to b8 here. And now we're getting a few pushes, and this was very smart by white to try and deflect this pawn away. And another very good idea as well from black to push these bishops away. And obviously this pawn's going to look very difficult now after this knight moves, attacking this queen as well. So g5 is the move they played. Maybe not the best idea, but still up a point for black. And after the move g4, this is what makes it completely level until there was a miss here with knight h4. Just had to push the pawn, would have been able to have created a lot more chances there, but again another miss here, and we get d5, so we get a take, and now this is where black's going to try and create as much as he can here. This move by Hikaru, not the best, and after rook c8, c6, and then the rook goes to b5 here, we get the knight go to f4, and then maybe not the best check here, as the bishop could block. And then taking, which is the losing move here. Now, white is the one with the advantage. And off this pin, you double up the rooks. And now this pawn push completely losing here, as this queen can come back. And obviously attacking this pawn, which has had to be blocked. And then after this knight move, they try to push here. But as we play c7, Michael Adams resigns. A very saddening loss, I'd say, there for him, because he was winning the whole way through that until this move here, where this move was kind of the first move to start losing. It was okay, you know, he's only a few like, you know, he's only half a point down, but this here just doesn't work. And then this obviously just does everything. There's a few ways you can go about this, how it's going to work, and this is miles winning for white if you play it the right way round. So just before you finish today's video, let's just go over the Gambit. And the King's Gambit is one of the best gambits, I would say, just due to the amount you can use for attacking. And my favourite, I like to say, is when they play this. This is where you get something like the Algai Gambit, and there was another one which I cannot remember what it means. And it's when you play moves like this and you have this idea. If you push again to attack the knight, and this way you normally go like this, or even sometimes you can go along the edge at a later stage. It's actually castle when you sacrifice this. And weirdly enough, even though you're 3 points down here, it only says in the engine you're a point down. Look at how much you've been able to attack here. You're obviously going to be pushing d4 to attack this f4 pawn. And it's a sacrifice that can work, I would say, with best if you play very well as white. But what we saw here was a very normal King's Gambit. And in the end, we saw that I think white honestly maybe played it a little bit worse, but that's what's going to happen in Gambit. You're always going to be worse off from the start. But Michael Adams took that chance and stayed ahead the whole game until the very end. So it's very unlucky for him. But in the end, it is a win for white. And there's that. So, hopefully you enjoyed today's video. That was episode 25 of the Gambits Galore between Hikaru and Michael Adams. So, thank you for watching, and bye-bye.